other areas that I see restrictive diets fail is what will happen is a person may not hit their macro components, which is proteins, fats, and carbs, or they'll restrict one of those areas to extreme. Maybe it's the carbohydrates. And you can do that for an extended period of time as long as you're keeping your calories close enough. But if everything is too low, again, we're going back into energy response and how you're recovering. And what happens with an individual is if they go on that restrictive diet and they try to also make sure they're hitting their workouts and punch those components up, they'll go into overtraining. Central nervous system will be zapped. You'll typically affect your response to immunity. So your immunity levels drop, and typically a person gets sick. I've done that before myself. I pushed myself into that extreme. That's a combination of restricted diet and activities increased. So that's another area that I've seen, obviously, the restrictive component not be successful. Other areas where restrictive diets do not work or will fail is the combination of nutrients available. So people push themselves into some type of deficiencies. Now, a lot of times you won't identify these things unless you have other ailments pop up. What I'm saying is, one is immunity, one is recovery. The other one component would be, hey, what are my deficiencies in? But that would be a blood profile and looking at your micronutrients to see. So I see, individuals who go on specific restrictions have deficiencies. Their energy levels drop. They don't feel well. It's because they're at an imbalance. Not only is a calorie intake, but a nutrient imbalance and deficiencies across the board. So it can really impact your overall health and how you feel just because you push yourself in a restrictive diet. So understand your restrictive diets and how they typically set you up for failure. Now, how you may want to do it is identify a time frame where you need to be in a restriction, and what you need to do is come back and reassess. So I like to look at it as 7 to 14 days. 14 days is a short standpoint for you to do a percentage of body fat. You can have some adaptation within lean tissue and fat mass within a 14-day standpoint. Now, a 7-day is going to be a little bit quicker. What I'm saying there is you're going to see less change within a 7-day period. But what you can do is do it at 14 or every 3 weeks is another sweet spot. We used to do it a 4-week cycle or a 6-week cycle in the past. Depends on the individual, but what we want to do from a restriction and change, look at a 7-day period. We're restricted enough, we're using expenditure, so activity, and we put ourselves in a deficit, but not an extreme deficit that you're impacting your metabolic process. Again, you always want to have the ability to maintain that lean tissue as you're looking at the fat loss phase. You don't necessarily need to go to extreme. Only way that I would say go to extreme is you have specific timelines or specific goals, but we have to be very, very focused, understand our macros, understand rest recovery, understand how much activity we're expending to make sure we don't push ourselves into an overtraining phase.